Check, 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 check.
Well, good morning, Unity of Farmington Hills. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. As you can see, there has been some hustle and bustle around the church, so we've got new floors now in the sanctuary. I think you'll all agree it looks wonderful. So that's great. Happy July 4th weekend. Hope you all are celebrating it with friends and family. We have Reverend Rose Cooper here today, so please welcome her. We are looking forward to always a great message if you've never had a chance to sit back and just take in Rose Cooper, Reverend Rose Cooper. It's beautiful. So looking forward to that. And thank you all for being here today. Let us begin.
thank you, thank you. Good morning. And what a perfect day this is. Welcome to Unity of Farmington Hills. It is so good to see everyone here and those of you that are online. My name is Sharon Lewis, and I am the, what are they calling me now? Platform assistant today. Please join us after service in the social hall for fellowship and refreshments. It's a perfect time to get to know people that you don't necessarily know and to continue to grow your family, your church family. We want to give a special thanks to the hospitality team for last week's, what was last week? Picnic. Did everyone go? Yes. It was fantastic. And we wish to thank each of you. Those of you that helped to set up, those who helped to clean up, those who brought a beautiful dish to share with your family, your church family, and of course, those of you who just showed up and showed out. It was a great time for all. Lois wanted to remind me to point out Chuck. Raise your hand, Chuck. Chuck won the 50-50 challenge. And so I know this is hard times for some of us, and we may need a little extra cash. Chuck is the person to see. Yes. We've had a wonderful, wonderful 6-month journey with our capital campaign fund. We marvel at the new flooring, upstairs and downstairs. And we wanted to show your donations at work. We don't collect the donations and don't do anything with them. We move as quickly as possible to show you the works of our labor. And because we reached our goal of $50,000 within the first 6 weeks, we've decided to double the stakes. So we're going from $50,000 to $100,000 by the end of the year. And we have an anonymous donor who has already donated $10,000. And the additional monies are really important because we want our building to be ADA compliant, and it is not now. And so that's what the additional money will be going to. And which one are we at? Oh, I can't see that. Capital campaign. We'd like for you to increase your spiritual knowledge of the Bible. Reverend Kelly does an excellent job of teaching the Bible in depth. Remember, there are various ways of interpreting the Bible, and she focuses on how to interpret the Bible metaphysically and to go deeper. And she answers your questions, and she keeps pushing you more and more. And those services are on Wednesday from 1 to 3 o'clock. In addition, on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, we have meditation. And the links to both of those things, they're on Zoom. Meditation is on Zoom or in person, and the Bible class is only on Zoom. If you go to our website, you can click the link, and you can be admitted to the Zoom. Okay. Oh, we have racks. What are racks? Racks. No, not rats. No tea, no tea. Faith would have a fit if we had rats. We have RACs, R-A-C, Resource Activity Center. If you come in the front door, you'll see 2 racks full of all types of information. And this is our way of opening up the church to the community at large. It's information for veterans, it's information for teens, for youths, and for adults, for suicide prevention, and a bunch of stuff. So feel free to take materials from our racks. And if you'd like to place something in the rack, see Donna there. Katie Smith is our prayer chaplain for today. Katie is a new prayer chaplain, and we're so excited to have her with us. And so she is an excellent prayer, and please join us today. What else? Check out our Facebook page, unityfh.com, and read the newsletter that's mailed every Friday. And now the music team will sing Surely the Presence. So this is the time in the service where we have devoted to prayer. And I typically like to begin the meditation with the daily word rather than starting the meditation after. So the meditation and the daily word are all one. So I invite you to just take a deep breath and just center yourself in your spiritual consciousness, to let go of those things that you think you might have to do today. Just let them go. And the daily word for today, July 2nd, 2023, is guidance. And the affirmation is, I seek, trust, and follow my guidance. Seeking divine guidance means turning out information and opinions and turning inward. Then, with an open heart and quiet mind, I can feel better the nudge of my intuition and my inner voice. I receive divine guidance, much like the flowers in the field soak up sunshine. Just as following the sun is innate for them, I have to trust my instinct and my inner knowing. Even if my guidance surprises me, I trust it to lead me on the path of my highest good. I follow where I feel called to go. I heed the still small voice within and pay particular attention to the serpendicular circumstances I find along the way. I trust, I seek, I follow my guidance. As I do, I deepen my relationship with God, knowing wherever I go, I do not travel alone. The Lord will guide you continuously. Isaiah 58:11. The Lord will guide me continuously. Sometimes as I go through this human experience, I wonder, is the Lord guiding me? What are my options? What are my choices? How do I move forward for my good? But then as I stop and pause and rest, I know that God is always with me. How do I know that? How do I know that, Lord? How do I feel it? I feel it in my bones. I feel it in the way I move. I feel it in the circumstances of my life. I know that the Spirit is always with me, guiding me to be the best Christ that I can be, guiding me to let go of my judgment, let go of my worry, let go of my fear, and put my trust, my faith, my belief in spirit to move through this human experience with love. With love, because I know love conquers all. Love is all, and God is love. And I am so blessed to have this opportunity to be an expression of spirit. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen. And now we move on to our statement of being. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. In our growth statement, we give thanks for our expansive congregation that fills our halls, sanctuaries, and classrooms with seekers and teachers of unity truth, fills our hearts with love and joy, and provides us with all of the necessary resources to co-create a loving and compassionate, spirit-filled world. As you can see, Reverend Kelly's not here today. She is on a must-needed vacation, but we are still in for a treat. When Reverend Kelly called and asked if I would introduce Reverend Rose, we go back a long way. And she was one of my first Unity teachers. So it is truly such a pleasure for me to be up here introducing her. And we used to go to lunch afterwards, after Renaissance Unity. We would meet at this vegetarian restaurant. So it is clearly a special opportunity for me. She is Reverend Dr. Rose Cooper. She does have a PhD in communication. Many of you who've heard her before know that she was at Renaissance Unity as well as Detroit Unity Temple, and she's been a guest speaker at many Unity churches in the United States and in Canada for over 35 years plus. There has to be more than 35 years, yeah. So, but, you know, the more years I add to that, the more other years you may try to figure out, so. She is also the former vice president of the Unity's Urban School Ministry. She's taught classes for the Urban Ministerial School and for Unity Village. She just has such a full resume. But in addition to her ministry, she is also, as I mentioned, PhD in communication, and she was at Oakland University, and she is considered Professor Emeritus of Communication at Oakland University. And she's won numerous awards for her producing segments in her cable talk show, Speak Out with Brent Trist. And she has won awards for the City of Detroit, the Spirit of Detroit Award, which was a tribute to women who lead and in recognition of exceptional achievement. She is indeed an exceptional person, a very special person. She's such a gentle person. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Reverend Dr. Rose Cooper.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is truly a joy to be here. It's been a few years now since I've spoken. I've been here as a guest, and even when I tried to hide in the back, Reverend Kelly still called me out. So. Anyway, again, thank you for having me this morning. Again, always a pleasure to be here. And music team, you're just so awesome. I just always enjoy you. Such talent, such talent. So, again, here just to give a word this morning and praying that it blesses all whose ears it touches. And this morning I'd like to talk about what I call standing in truth. Standing in truth. So, most of you would probably agree that even though there are difficulties, America is a land of opportunity, a land of possibilities, a land of potential. However, there's always the news, and it seems the news enjoys giving us the bad news. So we can't go a day without hearing some stressful news, political issues. Right now, Canadian fires and employment-related kinds of issues, wages, for example. What's the minimum wage, et cetera, et cetera. So there are plenty of things to be concerned about. So in listening to all of this and hearing everything, I'm not mic'd?
No, you gotta stop the hand. I'm having problem.
Let's go. Okay. Well, you can't see me waving my arms all over the place now. Oh, that's quite all right. So my question then is, what do you do when you are faced with a challenge our many good truth students out there, I know, and even though we've been in truth for years and years and years, we've been in unity, some of us for years and years and years, still we're on planet Earth. Still we're having this human experience, even while we are spiritual beings. And so there are those little challenges, those things that keep us on our toes, those things that give us a chance to practice what we preach. So maybe your dilemma is different from what you hear in the news. It could be a health challenge. There could be a difficult relationship, or maybe you're moving through problems of some sort, but you're not out of the problem. You've prayed about it. You've talked about it. You are meditating on it. You're doing this. You're doing that. You know all that you know to do, and yet the problem still exists. What do you do? Tell me, what do you do? Well, it's okay. I thought I heard somebody say something. Anyway, when you've done all that you know that you can do, you've done, you worked, you've put forth efforting, we call it. Now what? Lord, what's happening? Nothing's happening. It's time to stand. It's time to stand in the truth that we know. What is the truth that you know? No matter how much it is, how little or how much it is, still, can you stand in the truth that you know? And what do I mean by stand? To fearlessly hold to the truth that Spirit is doing its perfect work, and there is what? No cause for alarm. This is paraphrased from the Revealing Word, Charles Fillmore, our founder. Hold fearlessly to the truth that Spirit is doing its perfect work, and there is no cause for fear. So truth is divine principle. What is that principle? We say God is principle, also a loving parent. Divine principle, absolute. When we say divine, we're talking about the absolute. So absolute, no room for wavering. It is absolute. It is eternal. And this abides in you and you and you and you. Everybody here, it abides in each of us. This Spirit is within each of us. That's what we know as metaphysicians, as truth students. As we expand our awareness, then our consciousness, we touch this truth. And that's something that we're working on this journey. How do we touch that truth within us? So let's just make sure that we know this. Let's say it. Spirit is doing its perfect work through me. I'll say it again. Spirit is doing its perfect work through me. Would you affirm that with me, please? Spirit is doing its perfect work through me. Now say it with gusto. Spirit is doing its perfect work through me. We may not feel that all the time, but it's true. And the more we open up and allow it, Spirit, it, God, whatever you want to call that higher presence, that higher being, it's doing the perfect work through us, and we will see it more and more and more. I like this one. Let's say, I'm cool, calm, and collected. Again, I am cool, calm, and collected. Just saying that will collect scattered fear thoughts that we have, and they're out there. It's even when we do our best to not to have them, still those fear thoughts will creep in somehow. Saying things like this will help us focus on collecting those fear thoughts and pushing them to the side, focusing on Spirit. Just dust them away, Focus on Spirit. So actually, a walk in faith is closely related to what I'm talking about when I say stand. When we stand, we have faith that something is happening. We have faith which is seeing it before it actually appears. Isn't that what faith is? We don't wait to see it. It's not faith if we see it first. We believe it, we know it, and we just, again, know that it's happening. There are so many examples of standing in faith in the scriptures, and one of my favorite is the story of Joseph. I'm sure many of you know that. This is in the Old Testament, Joseph was Jacob's favorite son by his beloved Rachel. And Joseph was sold into slavery by his jealous brothers. Now, Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officers, purchased Joseph and made him overseer of the house. Potiphar's wife made advances at Joseph, and Joseph refused. He was a man of integrity. He refused. But the wife falsely accused him, and Joseph was put in the king's prison. So as the story goes, Joseph was in prison. There was also a cupbearer and a baker in prison, and each of them eventually were released. But while he was in prison, Joseph interpreted dreams that the cupbearer had and that the baker had. And so the cupbearer got out of prison and told Pharaoh about Joseph after Pharaoh's troublesome dream about famine. Pharaoh dreamt about famine. Cupbearer said, "Oh, I know this guy in prison who interprets dreams." And so Joseph interpreted the dream, and Pharaoh found favor in him, and soon Joseph became the second in command in Egypt. From a slave, imprisoned, and now he's second in command in this powerful nation. So during the famine, people came from other lands because Egypt had lots of lots of food, and lands surrounding them many of them did not have sufficient food. And so they came to buy grain from Egypt. One day, Joseph's brothers, same ones who sold him, didn't recognize him. They came to buy grain, but they didn't know who he was. Many, many years had passed from this boyish-looking person to now a grown man and somebody in power. So he was so moved when he saw his brothers. He gave them grain as they needed and gave them money. Later, when they came back, Joseph revealed his identity. And the family, I'll just shorten the story, the family was eventually united again. They were reunited in a beautiful story of love and forgiveness. Forgiveness, so important. So, again, standing, planted. Stand where you are, prosper where you're planted. Joseph, where he was, stood in faith. He knew that God was his provider. He knew that God was his protector. He stood in faith. He prospered, performed duties with love, and always kept the focus on truth. What are you thinking? What are we focusing on? What are we giving our attention to? What are we feeding with our thoughts? Joseph was aware of these principles and practiced them. He was able to stand in the face of adversity, simply to know God was with him always. Do you believe that God is with you always? Yes. And there are times when we know it, but we don't really feel it because of something in the external distracting us, making us fearful, whatever it is. We know what we know, and we've got to remember to know what we know and practice, show that we know what we know, that we know. When we do that, what happens? Conditions begin to improve. They begin to change. That may not be snap your finger and voila, it's there. But you will notice that things begin to change. When we put our trust, when we put our faith in spirit, when we stand in the truth. I say stand in the truth because we talked about what truth is. It is that external. It is the unchangingness that is always there. That divinity, that divine spirit, that divine presence that we call God. It is always there. There's an expression, I've heard this in some workshop along the way, but anyway, a spiritual theory is that for whatever the problem is, there is a solution within a few feet away. So if we're out on the highway and the car breaks down, stand in that truth, a solution is going to appear. Not that the tow truck will drive up in 2 minutes, but maybe there's somebody in a car that passed by and notified someone, and someone does come because another person. It's not our job to figure it out. All we have to do is believe, to trust. Let God do the work. He's doing it anyway. We just have to get out of the way, move ourselves out of the way, and let God do his work. One thought away, your divine idea will come. Just one thought away. 1 Corinthians 16:13 says, watch, stand fast in faith, be brave, strong. Watch, stand fast in faith, be brave, strong. I watch, I stand fast in faith, I am brave, I am strong. I walk, I stand fast in faith, I am brave, I am strong. Want to repeat that with me? Well, let's divide it into little parts. I watch, I stand fast in faith. I am brave, I am strong. And these are things we repeat. We affirm these ideas. We affirm these truths so that they are fed into our consciousness, fed into our awareness. We feel it at the depths of our soul. And that way it becomes real. We know, we believe, as we're saying. We're not just repeating, oh, this is a little thing that I repeat. No, we know it. We know that we know that we know. The more that we practice, what happens? The better we become. So sometimes, oh, I have one other, no, I watch, I stand fast in faith, I am brave, I am strong. So we've got that idea planted. Now, sometimes we may need a paradigm shift. There are things that are just, that sometimes feel so far reached that, oh, think about when you first came into truth. If you were not born into this kind of community, born into this kind of religion, it may have taken a while to hear and really believe. Is that possible? Anyway, we may need a paradigm shift, making a profound change in our perception. It's not always easy to believe these new concepts, whether these or something else that you're working with. Sometimes that profound change in our perception of things has to change before we can even begin to believe, begin to consider it, begin to study. Oh, I want to learn more. So we keep that in mind. It may take a major change, shift in our perception. Just because I'm laid off, for example, you might be, if there's someone in a work situation or laid off a job, people, it doesn't feel good not to have work during your working years, right? When you're working, that's your income, and that's something that we rely on, we depend on. But just because we're laid off does not mean that we can't keep living. Keep on moving, doing something, thinking, moving. What's coming to mind? You might be what they call middle-aged, or some of us beyond, or, well, we keep saying middle-aged anyway, yes. And you feel that you can't pick up and start over. But there are many people still, maybe in their 50s or so, who lose their job, a job they thought would last forever. And I remember hearing some years ago that my generation is the last that will have one job, that might have one career, not just job, but career for their entire lives. Actually, we were telling our college students that they will have as many as seven jobs or 7 careers over their lifespan. That was just something not even considered, thought of by, at least by me. Anyway, but keep it moving, keep doing something. You can pick up and start again. What do you have to do first? Stand. Stand in your truth. If you stand in your truth, your feet are planted on solid ground, you know that you have room to grow. You can continue growing. You can cultivate what's already there. You stand in your truth, even if maybe ideas will come to you. Maybe you're one of the ones who can use stock. You use some of your stock savings, or maybe you can liquidate some property that you have. I mean, people have various situations. Even you can take a part-time job, but we have to stand in truth and allow our minds to be open just to hear the possibilities, to know the possibilities. You or a loved one might have a health challenge. Stand. What do? You stand when the diagnosis is negative. And I know that's happened to many people throughout the world. You probably know people who had a negative diagnosis. What do you do when life becomes so real? Now remember, there's a difference between real or reality and truth, because we see this, what appears as manifest reality around us all the time. But what we have to do is get centered and know it, not just believe it, but know that reality is not truth with a capital T. And we've already talked about earlier what truth is, right? Truth is that eternal, the unchanging. Oh, I heard so many songs growing up. I grew up in a church, in a traditional black church, and it happened to be Baptist, but lots of songs. And you know what? I am so grateful for my experience. So many songs. I think of them now. Even as I say this, what song comes to mind? Almost any expression, I have a song for it, because I remember. It's either that or R&B music that I heard. So hold to God's unchanging hand. All of these things around us change, but truth is eternal, unchanging. Hold to God's unchanging hand. having an expression like that just to rely on, to think about, helps us move along the way. So as metaphysicians, we know it's not the job situation, it's not the physical condition, it is what? The thinking that matters. How are you dealing with that? What are you thinking about that situation? Whatever your situation is. There's a story about two boys at a recreation center. They were boxing, and one was much taller than the other. And the tall one figured, oh, I can easily beat that guy, that little guy. I can beat him. The taller boy took a swing. The little one countered the blow. The tall boy took another swing, and another, and another. And each time he took a swing, the little boy, the shorter one, the smaller one, countered it and followed with a punch. So after this kept happening, the taller boy decided to go back to his original sport, swimming. Which is wonderful. So when life sends you a blow, what do? We counter it. We counter it because we let go of fear. We're not afraid that blow is coming. We counter the blow. We've been taught to do that. We have our spiritual tools. Let go of fear and counter with what? Faith, the truth. And that truth is expressed in many ways. Faith and love and God-inspired action. Because that is the truth. When we do these things, we are practicing that truth with a capital T. That's what we want. This is how we stand. Stand in that truth that you know. In closing, I'm reminded of songs and scriptures that help me stand. As I said, I have many songs in my head, and if I hear a phrase, I typically can think of one. But some of the ones that I thought of, even as the thought came to me Reverend Kelly called me, and I said, oh, Reverend Kelly, I know you need a vacation, so yes, I will come, but just have to let you know, I've got a completely busy week. I don't have any time until Friday night. One of the things I'm doing is working on preparing for a family reunion. And when you're hosting it in your city, it's a lot of work to do. It's fun, but it's a lot of work. But anyway, during the week, I noticed that Wednesday's daily word was let go, let God. When we let go and let God, what are we doing? Standing. We are standing. And I wanted to share that again. I'm sure many of you have seen it. The affirmation is, I surrender the concerns of my heart and wait with positive expectancy. I surrender the concerns of my heart and wait with positive expectancy. I won't read the entire passage for the day, but the scripture is from Exodus 14:13, chapter 14, verse 13. It says, do not be afraid, stand firm, and see the deliverance that the Lord will accomplish for you today. Don't be afraid. All that we have to do is what? Stand firm. Not just stand, make sure your feet are firmly planted on solid ground, as one of the songs said. So I'm thinking about, as I was thinking of this topic and wondering what to speak on today, I thought, okay, this keeps coming to my mind. Okay, listen to Spirit. So I did that. I Surrender All is one of the songs. I kept hearing these songs come to my head. Oh, stand. When you stand, what are you doing? You are surrendering to the higher good, surrendering to the higher self, listening at those thoughts, those feelings. We listen with feelings as well. We know that if we surrender, what happens? Spirit steps in. Give it to him. Give it to Spirit. Another is, what can we do? If we are feeling burdened, what do? You take your burdens to the Lord and what? Leave them there. Some of you might know that song, take your burdens to the Lord and leave them there. Another song that came to mind is, this is a more recent one, still probably a couple decades or so old, but after you've done all you can, you just stand. After you've done all you can, just stand. And so we have these reminders, songs, phrases to remind us that we don't have to do it all. Sometimes it's always time to listen, and when it looks like we're scurrying about and the solution we want is not coming, or no solution seems to be coming at all, breathe and stand. Some scriptures I'd like to share with you before I close. 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13. Watch, stand fast in faith, be brave, be strong. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 13 through 14. Therefore, and I'm sure many of you know this one, you've heard it. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness. That theme of stand, 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 receive. Stand and listen. In Unity, we say, change your thoughts, change your what? Your mind. And when you change your mind, you change your whole world. Change your thoughts, change your mind, change your world. You can do that. And the solution is simple. All you have to do is stand. Stand in the truth, stand in the truth, stand in the truth. God bless you.
Just a little faith.
Just a little faith when the storms of life are blowing. Just a little faith will get you where you're going.
When you're inspired by the dreams inside your mind,
But in your life, it feels so hard to
before we go to our love offering, let's give a special blessing for Reverend Rose. And we rub our hands together. Please stand. And you can repeat after me if you don't know it. We love you. We appreciate you. We bless you. And we behold the Christ in you. And thank you for standing in your truth. So, at this time, we'd like for you to bring to your consciousness what you would like to donate to Unity of Farmington Hills. You may remember we do not pass the basket. There is a donation basket in the back, and also you can go to our website and donate in that way. And our prayer for our blessing for our donation is divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And do we do the peace song first? No, we do prayer for protection. Okay. Do I dare? Yeah. So let's do a slightly different prayer for protection because I like it. It's called the affirmative prayer for protection. And so it's the same, but then there is a statement afterwards. So, for instance, the first, the light of God surrounds us. Everyone knows that part, right? And then so the next sentence is, I am the light, okay? And so we say, I am after each statement. Cool? Cool, okay. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.